Hi viewers, welcome back to NCK Hub Consulting and Training. I hope you all are doing great. In the last session we have discussed about IP address, how can an IP address be created and how a CIDR range can be allocated and it is transformed into an IP address by the IANA. We have seen this topic in our previous video. In today's video, we are going to have a look about security groups. Throughout the networking part and cloud computing, a security group plays a very crucial role. In the security group, we are going to discuss today about how a security group can be created using AWS, how can we do whitelist an IP address, and how a port can be added. Let's quickly jump into security group of AWS. So let me take to you AWS. So this is my AWS console. From the AWS console, I am going to launch security groups. This security group is part of AWS VPC. So let me navigate to VPC first. From the VPC, we'll be having a sub services. Under this one, we have to go to the security and we have to click on security groups. From the security group, by default, we will be having a default security group, which will be allowing all types of security groups. If you can see, all type of security groups will have inbound and outbound rules. So if we can speak about a security group, it is nothing but a firewall which will be allowing and denying certain rules which has to be followed as per the organization level and also from the server level, which will be private ports, public ports, which has to be allowed, which should not be allowed. Okay, this is about security group. It is nothing but a firewall. This is allowed and created in the instance level or a server level. Now we will be creating a security group. This security group we will be discussing about how an IP can be attached to a inbound rule and how can we allow or disallow in the sense of outbound and inbound we will be working on today's session. So first name the security group whatever you want to create. Example, if you can see here, security group by default it is there with basic details. My web server group. Example, if you already have created a Windows server which is allowing your IIS web server, or if you have created a Linux server which should allow SSH, depending upon that you should allow certain security ports. Those security ports you can do name it. So initially I am naming it as my security group. Example, here in this session I am allowing a few whitelisting IP address and custom IP addresses, along with that one HTTP and one database. Example, here we can do take SQL. So for that one I'm going to allow these set of details: database, custom IP addresses, HTTP and HTTPS. So how to add them and how to allow these ports we will be checking. So first I will do name this as allow DB security group. Like this we have to name, as my primary essential in this security group is to allow DB and HTTP HTTPS. So for this one, I am allowing mainly essential database security group. I'm just naming it. You can name it as test security group, or depending upon your project name or application name, you can do name it like this. Here you can do right depending upon your security group. Now, example, I am reframing it to like this. Allow this security group to connect database and instance to instance to connect a private server. Okay, like this you can do describe the instance as well about the description, so that a third person or your part your co-colleague who is working on this one, they will come to know easily while we are describing it. By looking into this, and they will come to know, oh, this security group is related to so and so private server, so and so security group which it is going to connect. Like this they will come to know. So remember, this security group which you are creating, it has to be part of a networking part. That networking part should be there in the networking region, and also the VPC virtual private cloud with the network you are going to use. Example, previously we have created 192.168.0.0/16. A test VPC we have created, and a test server we have allowed with a CIDR range, and we have seen a IP address, how a CIDR can be created. If you do not follow my previous video, please click on the description. I have added a previous video link as well. You can get a better understanding how an IP address can be created and how a CIDR can be mapped to a networking. So now quickly jump into adding inbound rules and outbound rules. So as of now, I have added this security group of a test VPC. Now I am going to add inbound rule and outbound rule. So for example, if you want to allow a traffic which should be connected to your server, then you have to whitelist your inbound rules. So if you can come here, we will be having a different set of rules: custom, TCP, UDP, and all TCP, all UDP. Similarly, all traffic, SSH, and also any particular HTTP, HTTPS, all these multiple will be there. So among these one, depending upon your requirement, you have to allow. So currently, if I can show you, if we are interested in allowing all traffic, then you should allow all traffic. All traffic means starting from 0 to all the multiple range of IP addresses it will do allow. That means 80, 443, 543, 513, 1433, like this multiple ports, all ports, TCP, UDP, all will be connected from allowing to this security group, which the server you are going to attach this security group, it will be allowed. Okay. Next, after this one, you have to select an IP range. As you are allowing all traffic, please make sure that if you are using private server securely, then add IP address range within your organization level security groups with a required CIDR range of IP addresses. Example, if you want to allow only few instances or address, then you have to allow 192.168.example10.0. So this range of IPs example you want to allow. This 2 power 24 is there, right? 2 power 32 minus 2 power 24, which is altogether 2 power 8. 2 power 8 number of IPs will be allowed within this range of all traffic. Okay, here you need to describe a description. Like this, you have to allow. This is a one few ports of whitelisting with all traffic. Now, if I want to allow a custom with respect to a HTTP custom or a HTTPS, then during that point of time you have to select a rule with HTTP by allowing an port number 80. So if your application with IIS web server or SSH installed with Nginx, or your server mapped with any type of Apache server inside a Linux server, then you have to allow means 84. During that point of time, you have to select this one. Then you have to select a custom range of IP. Example, if you are planning to allow this HTTP with all ranges, then you need to select all ports. If you want to allow only specific port, example 10.0, 10.0.0.120. Okay, 10.0.0.120/32. Example, only this is the IP address which you want to allow. Let me check. Here there is a small mistake. So let me override it, and I will do select it like this. Yes. So 2 power 32 minus 32 is equal to 2 power 0, which is altogether one IP address it is allowing. So like this, you can do allow a single IP address as well, like this. Next, after this one, if you are planning to allow a HTTPS, then select HTTPS. That needs to be whitelisted with any type of IP address that needs to be allowed here. If you want to allow anywhere IPv4 address, then you can do select. If you want to allow my IPv address, then your IP address will be selected specific HTTPS with your specific my IP address will be allowed. Then you can do name it as allow HTTPS specific to my IP to establish a connection with server, so that an end user who is looking into this one, they will come to know easily. Next, similarly, if you want to add a database, now come to the database like SQL, we have RDS, we have MySQL, we have multiple connections of databases are there. So these databases, example, if you are allowing MS SQL, which is the port 541,433. Next, similarly, if you are planning to allow PostgreSQL, all those ports 5432 example. So these ports will be there with a different connection of different port ranges. If you can see here, these are the port ranges. If I am allowing a database port example MS SQL 1433, you can do allow it. If you are allowing a port with PostgreSQL 15432, this only this port will be established with a database connection to your server. Suppose in my EC2 instance, previously I have created an EC2 instance. That EC2 instance we have spoke about in our last video with 192.168. IP address. We have created an cider range. That instance I am going to add now by whitelisting that. So I have stopped that instance. Let me go to that instance. We can do check. Example, this is the IP address 29.3. This I am going to copy and I am going to add on security group by whitelisting. So if I am planning to whitelist this one a specific IP address, then I can do add allow only this IP of private connection. So that means only this port will be allowed. Similarly, 5432 port with PostgreSQL database, which will be allowed with same database or same IP address, or sorry, different database with same IP address. If we are installed MS SQL and PostgreSQL like this, any Apache, HTTP, HTTPS, and we are planning to allow this like this, we have to add a description as well. Then we can do mark the IP address. Then you can do allow this database like this. You can do add, and next you have to check out your all outbound rules. Similarly, if you want to add any multiple ports and multiple connections of allow traffic TCP UDP like networking TCP networking UDP like this, you can do add anything. So once you complete these inbound rules which should allow the traffic, similarly you have to check out your rather than incoming traffic, outgoing traffic from this security group. Are you expecting any other traffic? It should go like this. You can do add as well. All ports already it has added. So by default, it will be allowing with all ports. So as already all ports are added, we can do mark it as all ports. So if it is part of NACL, which is called network access control list, there we can do allow and disallow. This we will do talk about in separate video. Currently we are looking into security groups, about ports and how to whitelist an IP address, how can an inbound rule can be created, and how to describe this with a connection. With a specific connection of whitelisting IP address like this, we can do have a look. And here we can do click on create security group. Then after that one, your security group can be created. So like this, your number of IP addresses which are whitelisted, those will be allowed with a different range of port ranges. So this security group will be allowed by connecting to a server. Example, if you want to allow to this server, example, this server, this security group, then you can go and attach this security group to the instance. So you can go and change your security groups as well. Example, already we have created one. If you want to add one more DB security group, which is the name DB security group we have created, this is the one, and this is the security group ID which is ending with 242. If you want to attach it, you can do check it out. We can do say add like this. So by default it will be there initially with the default security group previously. So if you can see launch wizard 2, this is there with default security group. Now if I am going to add this security group, it will be saved. And for this EC2 instance, now another security group has been attached that you can do check out in security group section. So if you can check here the security group, let me refresh the page. So the security group will be attached to this instance, will be another level of security group. So let me refresh it once again. So looks like it was not attached. Let me add once again and save it. Yeah, this way we can do attach multiple security groups as well. You can see, check it out. This is the instance, this is the test server which we have seen, and let me click on the security. So if you can see here, two security groups were added. So the DB security group which we have added previously, this is allowing all these range of connections to this server, okay, to this instance, these many security ports. If these security ports, an end user comes and want to use this, a developer wants to come and use this server with a database server, then they should be allowing with 5432 database. Some any database a developer wants to use MS SQL example, they should be allowed to this port, and they have installed inside the server MS SQL, then they should be freely allowed to connect for this range of IP address which we have allowed. If they are looking for a different range of whitelisted IP address, then those whitelisted IP address also should be allowed like this. Then only inside this server the developer or a tester can access the database. Similarly, type of any type of service they wants to access, accordingly they needs to connect connect to the security group inside the server easily by allowing these whitelisted security groups or the rules which are allowed specific to the instance with firewall which is whitelisted. So that's it for today's topic. If you have any questions, please post on this channel. If you don't have anything, it will be very glad to hear. If you have any feedback to share, please share it with me. And I request kindly please subscribe our channel, and please do visit our Instagram, Facebook, NCK Hub, and please follow us and encourage us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye everyone.